Base Belisarius is back, and I'm happy to talk about him. He's a winner. Him and his glorious troops are trying to make Rome great again, the Mediterranean great again. Hashtag Base Belisarius is #1, and this is American Learns right here. I mean, Americans Learn. Haha, screwed that up there. My name's Kit. Welcome, one and all. And this is going to be an unbiased reaction, learn on of Belisarius and the Sassanid invasion. Once again, barbarians hating on Rome because they're haters. They're haters. Haters who like to hate. Lying liars who like to lie. Once again, Belisarius is called up to task, and this is called the Sassanid invasion by epic history. So listen, folks, grab yourself a tasty snack and a tasty beverage. Matter of fact, that tasty snack better be true Roman bread for true Romans. Okay? Because right now, we're about to get our learn on about the last true Roman. That hurts my heart to say that. Look away, Aurelian. Please look away. We let you down. I was born too late to save you. So since I'm in charge of the ones and twos, let's get ready to play this video. In a 3, a 2, a 1.
540 AD. Khosrow, Sassanid king of Persia, is invading the Eastern Roman Empire. His huge army marches
#1, how dare you?
Along the banks of the Euphrates River. Sura falls before them. Hierapolis is ransomed for 2,000 pounds of silver. Berea burns. Then, to the horror of all Romans, Khosrow takes Antioch, second city of the empire.
Jesus, Tone, how much more betrayal can I take? You know, I just had to bring up that soprano line, especially the most infamous one. Where are the Romans now? To which Tony Soprano responds, "Hey, jerk off, you're looking at them. Can't swear because of YouTube guidelines, but you know what I'm talking about." Antioch, why?
The Roman capital of the Near East. The city burns. Soldiers flee.
What?
Civilians are massacred. The historian Procopius writes, "I become dizzy as I write about such a great calamity and transmit it to future times to remember."
We feel the pain too.
I cannot understand why it should be God's will to exalt the fortunes of a man or place and then to obliterate them for no cause that is apparent to us. After years of victories, Justinian's empire is rocked by this devastating onslaught. The emperor can send only his cousin Germanus and 300 soldiers.
What?
The promise of a great army to follow. But there is no great army. Roman forces are tied down fighting Justinian's wars in the west. Instead, he will dispatch his greatest general, Belisarius, and pray for a miracle, little knowing that the empire is about to be plunged into an even greater catastrophe, unlike anything the world has ever seen before.
Oh no, the plague! No! By the way, it was a trick by the Sassanids to use dark magic and the forces of chaos to do that, okay? I don't want to hear anything about, oh, there was, other factors. No, they used magic. It's the only way Rome could fall. Through magic. Don't give me that look. Don't say, hey, there's academic reasons. I have no time for academia. I have time for facts and reason and magic.
First, a big thanks to our video sponsor, Endel. Any of us can struggle with stress, getting to sleep, maintaining focus, or even all three. Endel is on a mission to use technology to help our bodies and brains adapt to the modern world and its many demands. Their app, informed by neuroscience and powered by AI, creates personalized soundscapes to help you relax, stay focused, or get to sleep. Endel adapts in real time to your location, weather, and even your heart rate if paired with a smartwatch. Simply tap your goal, and Endel takes care of the rest. If you've tried music and audiobooks but find they can often be distracting or intrusive, we can highly recommend Endel's relaxing soporific soundscapes. The first 100 people to download Endel using the link in our video description will get a free week of audio.
There have been moments when I've been very stressed out. I think I've said this before, like, September, October, November, December of last year and January of this year have been very stressful for me. It's been very difficult. I lost some loved ones. Some friends are going through some situations too. And, things have gotten better, but self-help, mental health, and all that other kind of stuff, things that make you happy, focus on that, folks. All right. Take some time for yourself. Even I had to do that.
Audio experiences. Thanks again to Endel for sponsoring this video. Trouble had been brewing on Justinian's eastern frontier for years. The Eastern Roman and Sassanid empires, the two great powers of the Middle East, had signed a treaty of eternal peace just 8 years before. But Khosrow had looked on with growing alarm as Roman forces, led by Belisarius, had reconquered first North Africa, then Italy.
Yep, that's right. We made Rome great again. Because the barbarians that were there were not the best. They were not the brightest. A lot of those Germans or germs, as one great historian on YouTube has identified them properly, destroyed all of Italy. I mean, what good did the barbarians do? Absolutely nothing. I don't want to hear anything in the comment section below. I mean, all what the barbarians did was burn Rome, just like the Gauls did. And you know what? The Gauls had it coming. When Julius Caesar brought justice. Hey, if you guys would like us to check out Unbiased History, give us your thoughts. The correct answer is yes. The correct answer is yes. The correct answer is yes. Type in the comment section below. Look at that. Look how glorious Rome looks. United, and it feels so good.
Half in jest, Khosrow asks Justinian for his share of the tribute, since these victories are only possible because he's granted the Romans peace. But the joke is wearing
You bastard! King Khosrow, don't make me smack you in the mouth. Don't make me slap you.
thin. Khosrow receives envoys from the Goths in Italy and the Armenians, who beg him for aid. Justinian, they tell him,
Barbarians are going to barbarian, right? What'd I say? They're not bringing their best. They're not bringing their brightest. They gotta go.
Has conceived the desire of seizing the entire earth. He will march against the Persians with those he has already enslaved, respecting neither the name of friendship nor any of his sworn promises. In 540, Khosrow accuses the Eastern Emperor of paying Huns to raid Persian land and trying to bribe his Arab allies to switch sides. Then he attacks. Justinian has stripped the frontier of its best troops to reinforce his army in Italy. There is no Roman force that can stand up to Khosrow's invasion. Antioch is sacked. Survivors are enslaved and sent to Persia. Khosrow then marches to the coast and symbolically bathes in the waters of the Mediterranean.
You bastard! He got naked and jumped in the bed. It's okay. You see, because I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm furious.
He moves on to Apamea, where he demands 1,000 pounds of silver, but lets the priests keep their piece of the true cross. He then fixes the local chariot race, so that Justinian's favourite team, the Blues, lose. Justinian agrees to pay Khosrow £5,000 of gold, with 500 more to be paid annually in exchange for a truce. Satisfied, Khosrow sets off for home. However, he does not let the truce prevent him from extorting several more payments en route. It is the Eastern Roman Empire's greatest military humiliation in 3 centuries.
That's right.
Everyone was talking about Belisarius. He was credited with 2 victories such as never before fallen to the lot of one man. He had brought 2 kings captive to Constantinople, and beyond all expectation had made Roman spoils of the nations and wealth of Geseric and Theodoric. In the Eastern Roman capital, Belisarius has been welcomed back from Italy as a hero.
As you should.
He and his entourage draw admiring crowds wherever they go.
Good.
But he does not have long to enjoy his success. In early 541, Justinian sends Belisarius east to take command of Roman forces in Syria and ensure there is no repeat of the previous year's disaster. Belisarius's wife, Antonina, has accompanied him on previous campaigns to North Africa and Italy and proved herself a valuable advisor and deputy. But this time, she remains in Constantinople to advise her friend and patron, Empress Theodora.
Okay.
Belisarius gathers all available forces at Dara, site of his great victory 11 years before.
Only 15,000?
He has his own household troops, the elite Bucellari, Ostrogoths who've joined him in Italy,
Okay.
Rome's Sassanid Arab allies, led
Okay.
by Al-Harith,
Okay.
and several thousand Limitani, the empire's frontier troops. Procopius does not tell us the size of these forces, so we can only make educated guesses based on circumstantial evidence. Local Roman forces are shaken by the events of the previous year. Belisarius spends several weeks reorganizing these men, re-equipping them,
Yes.
and rebuilding their shattered morale.
Yes. Yes.
When
Get strong.
Belisarius learns that Khosrow
Become Alpha Gig Chad Supreme. Sigma males through and through.
and the main Persian army are far away in the north, campaigning in Lazica, he decides to go on the offensive and targets the Persian city of Nisibis. This fortified frontier city is too strong to assault directly, but Belisarius hopes the garrison can be lured out and defeated in battle,
Yes.
allowing his troops to rush into the city, mingled with the retreating enemy.
Yes. Glorious.
Belisarius camps 5 miles from Nisibis, close enough to tempt the Persians to attack, but far enough that they can't easily retreat back to the city. But one Roman commander, Peter, camps far too close. Worse, he ignores Belisarius's warning to be on high alert at noon.
Peter? Why is it I'm imagining Peter from Peter Griffin from Family Guy? Peter? Why'd you get this big brain idea? You want to be different. You want to be special.
When the Persians are most likely to strike. The Persian commander, Nabidis, spots this isolated Roman force and attacks. Peter immediately sends a rider to Belisarius calling for aid. But Belisarius and the rest of the army have already seen what's happening and are on their way.
Good.
Before they can reach Peter, his force is hit by the Persian cavalry. After a brief fight, his troops scatter. 50 men are killed. A Roman standard is lost.
That was a Roman standard. You better find it.
When Belisarius arrives with reinforcements, he drives off the Persians, who retreat into the city, leaving behind more than 100 dead. But the loss of a Roman standard in such a pointless skirmish is a bitter blow.
Not angry.
Belisarius marches on to the Persian fort at Sisauranon. His first attack is repelled. He digs in for a siege, while ordering Al-Harith's Arabs and 1,200 Bucellari to cross the Tigris River and raid deep into Assyria. It has been many years since the Romans have raided this far into Persian territory. There is little resistance and much plunder.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Sisauranon runs out of food and surrenders to Belisarius. But the Roman general has run out of time. His troops are exhausted by the extreme summer heat, and a third are sick. His Limitani wish to return to their homes, now threatened by the start of the Arab raiding season. While Al-Harith and his men have gone AWOL. It later emerges they've ridden straight home to avoid sharing their loot with the Romans. Belisarius, having achieved as much as he can with his limited force, withdraws back into Roman territory. At the opening of spring, Khosrow, son of Kavad, for the third time began an invasion into the land of the Romans with a large army, keeping the Euphrates River on the right. The Emperor Justinian, upon learning of the inroad of the Persians, sent Belisarius against them once more. 542 AD. Belisarius spends the winter in Constantinople, but in early spring, news arrives that Khosrow is preparing to invade again. Belisarius races back to the Eastern Front, using horses of the famous Cursus Publicus, the Roman postal service, with fresh remounts at every stage. A journey that normally takes a month can be completed in around 8 days.
Whoa!
Local commanders warn that Khosrow is approaching with the biggest army yet. They want to hole up in Hierapolis and hide behind its strong walls.
No!
Belisarius has a different plan. If Khosrow were attacking any other people but Romans, this plan of yours would be safe and sensible. But as immediately after leaving here this barbarian plans to fall upon some other territory of the Emperor, be assured that to die bravely would be better in every way than to be saved without a fight. For this would justly be called not salvation, but treason. So come as quickly as possible to Europos, where, after collecting the whole army, I hope to deal with the enemy as God permits.
Now that is our base Belisarius right there. That's how we're gonna win this fight. Yeah, I get plain mad dog mean.
Khosrow is counting on another lucrative plundering expedition. This time he plans to raid Palestine and pillage Jerusalem. But when he hears Belisarius himself has arrived and is gathering a Roman army at Europos, he hesitates. He sends an envoy, Abandanes, to meet Belisarius on the pretext of reopening negotiations, but really to gauge his strength. For almost the first time in 10 years, Procopius is not at Belisarius' side. He has remained in Constantinople. In fact, his days of campaigning with the great Roman general are over.
Why?
Nonetheless, he provides a detailed description of what follows. Belisarius meets Khosrow's envoy far from the Roman camp, surrounded by an imposing number of his most fearsome warriors, including Thracians, Illyrians, Goths, and Vandals. They have been hand-picked to make an impression. All are tall, strongly built men, armed to the teeth, and seem completely unconcerned by the arrival of a Persian envoy. Belisarius himself speaks in a carefree manner. This course that Khosrow has chosen is not how men usually behave. If other men have a dispute with their neighbor, they first try to negotiate with him,
Yes.
and only go to war if they do not receive satisfaction.
Yes.
But he first comes into the midst of the Romans, and then makes suggestions about peace.
Yes.
With that, Belisarius dismisses the envoy. The envoy returns to Khosrow and urges the king to avoid battle at all costs. The enemy are not like any men he's seen before. They are formidable and disciplined, Their commander is wise and imposing. The king should withdraw as soon as possible. Khosrow takes his advice. The Persian army crosses the Euphrates and marches home.
What Epic History TV left out is, after that, Belisarius proceeded then to pimp slap the envoy around. And he pimp slapped the envoy so hard, even Khosrow felt it. It was like, I don't want to feel that.
Belisarius appears to have bluffed a stronger enemy into retreat and saved huge swathes of the empire from plunder and pillage.
Beautiful.
According to Procopius,
Beautiful.
Romans praised Belisarius. He seemed to have achieved greater glory in their eyes by this feat than when he brought Gelimer or Vitiges captive to Constantinople. In truth, it was an achievement of great importance and deserving great praise, at a time when all the Romans were hiding in terror behind their defenses.
Yes.
Belisarius and his Bucalari, putting on a show that is so intimidating and deceptive that the Persian king abandons his campaign. It's a famous and memorable scene. But did it ever happen?
Yes.
Many historians believe that something even more terrifying caused Khosrow's rapid withdrawal. He'd discovered the empire was riddled with plague. During these times,
yes, because he realized he couldn't control his spell, and that's why he ran away. Okay, but also Belisarius was imposing. That's number one.
there was a pestilence, which came close to wiping out the whole of mankind. Now, in the case of all other scourges sent from heaven, some explanation or cause might be given by daring men. But for this calamity, it is quite impossible either to express in words or to conceive in thought any explanation, except, indeed, to refer it to God. The 6th century world is full of strange and mysterious phenomena. Sometimes even a highly educated man like Procopius can only record his observations and trust in God. Of the year 536, he wrote, "It came about during this year that a most dread portent took place. The whole year the sun..."
Not that we can relate, but you know, something kind of happened to us way back in the year of 2020, but we don't talk about that year, do we? By the way, just because the year 2020 is over, I hate to traumatize all of you, but in 3, 2, 1, we are in the decade of 2020. So just like how there's the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, we're in the decade of the 2020s. It ain't over yet. And boy, that year 2020 was a hell of a year to start off, right?
Gave forth its light without brightness, like the moon, and it seemed much like an eclipse, for its beams were not clear, nor like those it usually makes. From the time when this thing happened, men were free neither from war, nor pestilence, nor any other thing that brings death. Experts now believe Procopius was observing the atmospheric aftermath of a massive volcanic eruption. In fact, a cluster of volcanic activity around this date would help to trigger what's become known as the Late Antique Little Ice Age.
Oh, wow.
Its impact is impossible to measure, but it may have contributed to food shortages and worsened the famine that Procopius witnessed in Italy. Such shortages made the population weaker and more vulnerable to what came next. It originated among the Egyptians who live in Pelusium. From there it branched out in 2 directions. The first moving to Alexandria and then the rest of Egypt. The second coming to the Palestinians who live by the border of Egypt. Plague is first recorded in the Nile Delta in 541. It spreads across Egypt and into coastal Palestine. In spring 542, it reaches the imperial capital, Constantinople. It spreads rapidly across the empire. In 543, plague reaches Persian-ruled Armenia and the kingdom of the Franks. Recently, plague victims have even been identified in Anglo-Saxon England. Procopius is in Constantinople when the plague strikes with full, terrifying force. They fell ill in the following way. Suddenly they became feverish. Some of them when they rose from sleep, others while they walked about or doing any small thing. The body did not change colour or become warm like a regular fever, nor did it burn up.
Okay.
Rather, at first, the fever was so mild that it gave no cause for alarm, either to victims or the doctors who treated them. But then on the same day or the next, a bubonic swelling appeared. This happened around the groin, also inside the armpit, sometimes by the ears or the thigh. Some victims, Procopius writes, fall into a coma-like state, unable to feed or care for themselves. Others are seized by madness, shouting wildly and running into the streets. Some died immediately, others after many days. In some cases, the body blossomed with dark pustules about the size of a lentil. These people did not survive a single day. They all died immediately.
Oh, God.
Many others suddenly began to vomit blood and perished immediately. I must also state that the most eminent doctors predicted that many would die who shortly afterwards were unexpectedly free of all sickness. They also claimed that many would survive who were destined to perish almost immediately. Thus there was no cause behind this disease that any human reason could grasp. For in all cases, the outcome made little sense. DNA analysis of human remains from this and later pandemics has identified the cause of this terrifying disease, a deadly bacterium called Yersinia pestis.
Ew.
Procopius is at the center of the world's first bubonic plague pandemic. The second, 8 centuries later, is known as the Black Death. The peak of the pandemic lasts 3 months. On the very worst days, the death toll in Constantinople alone may be as high as 10,000. Between a third and half the city's population perish. Entire households are wiped out. The city's graveyards overflow, and corpses are crammed into city watchtowers. It was not easy in those times to see anyone out and about, for all were holed up in their homes. If you
So, in other words, there was a one big old lockdown. All right, great. Great, nothing has changed.
happened to chance upon someone going out, he was carrying one of the dead. All work came to
Bring out the dead. Bring out your dead.
a standstill. The plague hits the Empire's great cities hardest, but the pestilence also reaches deep into the countryside. Then Emperor Justinian himself falls sick. News soon reaches the army in Syria. There are even rumors that the emperor is already dead. Belisarius and his generals discuss the situation, but we have no reliable information on what is said or by whom. Justinian has no children. The succession will be an uncertain and dangerous time. Their own role may be decisive. They may even discuss who among them is best placed to succeed the emperor. Unexpectedly, Justinian makes a full recovery.
Oh, thank goodness.
But Empress Theodora has learned of the generals' meeting in Syria.
Oh, woman, if you don't be quiet.
Informers tell her that Belisarius and another general, Buzes, had said they would not support any new emperor proclaimed in Constantinople. Theodora regards these words as treason, a clear sign they will turn against her if her husband should die. Belisarius and Buzes are summoned to Constantinople for questioning. Theodora cannot prove their treason, but both men experience a sudden, dramatic fall from favor. Procopius
Yes, okay. Theodora, you're right now, you're being out of pocket. You need to calm down for like a minute. Can you calm down for a minute? A minute? No one knew what was going on. No one had smartphones.
Claims that Boozies spends more than 2 years in a secret prison. Belisarius, the emperor's most successful general, escapes imprisonment, but his disgrace is total. He is dismissed from command and loses much of his fortune. His famed Bucellari are split up and distributed amongst other commanders. Belisarius lives in
Justinian, you had to be a simp? Justinian, I thought you wanted to make Rome great again. I thought you wanted to make the Mediterranean great again. This is not good. It's not great. It's not good. Not good at all. This is not how you win. This is how you lose. This is how you become a losing loser who listens to lying liars who like to lie, who then have barbarians who barbarian. It's like I'm the only one paying attention here.
Constantinople as a private citizen for more than a year. While abroad, Justinian's empire slides towards crisis. The plague has killed a multitude of Roman citizens and soldiers, and severely disrupted government, trade, and taxation. In Armenia, a Roman offensive ends in humiliating defeat. In North Africa, Berber rebels defeat the Romans and kill Solomon the governor. While in Italy, the Ostrogoths have rallied under a new king, Totila, retaken most of Belisarius' gains, and again threaten Rome itself.
See, again, the Ostrogoths. These barbarians who and what did Justinian do? He didn't use his brain, which wasn't smart.
Justinian is desperate for a general who can take command in Italy and turn the tide of war. 544 AD.
Let's do it. Let's do it again.
Belisarius is recalled from disgrace and given back his old command in Italy.
Yes.
But the emperor has no troops to spare, and Belisarius' Bucellari are still in the east. This time he will have only 4,000 recruits that he must hire and equip himself to reinforce the demoralized army in Italy. And in Totila, he faces a far more dangerous adversary than before. He is poorly resourced and has been ungratefully treated by his emperor. But Belisarius loyally marches to war again, in what will prove his final campaign. Big thanks to Legendarian for providing our Total War Attila gameplay footage. Check out his own YouTube channel for more videos on the military history of late antiquity.
All right, everyone. We learned a lot here. First of all, please support the original content creator. That link is in the description box below. I am very upset with the actions of Justinian and his wife, Theodora. Clearly, those two were being out of pocket, not paying attention to the fact that there's going to be a lot of haters who are going to be happy that Justinian is what? Or that Belisarius is what? Out of favor? You want to lose Italy? That's how you lose Italy. It's not good. It's not great. You know? And now we have to take back Italy again. So there's only one thing I could tell all of you, because everything that's good has a beginning, middle, and end, and this is part 5. Part 6 is next, the final episode, the final battle. I need everyone to boot up and suit up and get ready. We're going to retake Italy and kick out those dirty barbarians once and for all. And we don't have to worry about any kind of losing territory or Italy to any other factions. We're going to disregard all of that, because we're going to make Rome and the Mediterranean great again. I promise you, with base Belisarius as our commander. So let's push forward. Let's keep on winning. Let's drink water. Shout out to Epic History TV. We got our learn on here. If you guys ever want us to see an unbiased history, though, the answer is yes. But type in the comment section below. We'll get your feedback. Until then, take good care of yourselves and each other. And just remember, stay resolute and strong. Like Belisarius, ask yourself, in a moment of crisis, what would Belisarius do? He'd be base, because he's a Giga, Chad, Alpha, Sigma Supreme. Just like you, guys and gals.